have spent over $100,000 on my R34 Skyline for it to look like this. But I wasn't always this way. In the pursuit of trying to build something bigger, faster, and more serious, I piece by piece pulled apart what was the well-built R34 Skyline, down to a project car that I'm not sure if I want it anymore. So let my expensive mistakes be at your benefit. These are the 7 mistakes that I've made so far building my R34 Skyline. Mistake number 1 was trying to build a car for every version of myself. At a stage, the Skyline was freshly painted, had a brand new forged RB2530, which was making 429 kilowatts and 1122 meters of torque at the rear wheels. It was fast, it was fun, and most importantly, I was actually out using it and driving the damn thing. I drove it on the street, I took it to the track, I made memories with friends, I built a community around this car, and honestly, it was already enough. But as the Turkish saying goes, ne aradığını bilmeyen bulduğuya yetinmez, which means in English, one who does not know what they're looking for cannot be satisfied with what they find. And that was me, but deep down, I knew I wanted more. I wanted to take track driving seriously, I wanted to race, and I wanted to build something more capable. But the problem was, I didn't actually know which discipline of motorsport I was building it for. Time attack, wheel to wheel, rally, street car, I don't know. I did not have a clear answer. So when I actually broke my built RB on the racetrack, I saw it as an opportunity to take the build further. Bigger, more serious, more extreme, but anxiety and doubt lives in the vague. And hear me on this, perceived opportunity without direction is just another way to get lost. So instead of fixing the engine and just leaving it as it is, or building the car further with an actual clear purpose, the build started to grow. Rear-wheel drive became all-wheel drive. Dry sump became wet sump. The stock brakes became R35 GDR brakes. Nitrous, aftermarket ECU, wiring harness, suspension, and the list goes on. You can see where we're going with this. Then a brand partner suggested that I do a Road to World Time Attack series. So cracking guys, welcome to episode 1 of the Road to World Time Attack Challenge 2024. So build a time attack car, and I thought, that's cool. So that's the direction that I started moving in, and for a while it made sense. But not long after that, I had the opportunity to go overseas to Malaysia and compete in the K-Car Global 24-hour endurance race, which is one of very few 24-hour endurance races in the world. And that is where I discovered my love for wheel-to-wheel racing. And that changed things and also created a problem, because I'd already started the process of building the Skyline to be a time attack car. But now I want to do something else, but I was already kind of committed to this path. And because I'm not in the position to have a time attack car, a wheel-to-wheel car, a hill climb car, a street car, I thought to myself, okay, well, what if I could just make this Skyline be a multi-discipline car? So I started researching regulations to see, what I could do, what I couldn't do, and also what disciplines and regulations had the closest crossover, which was, in my situation, Pro-Am time attack and sport sedans, which is a wheel-to-wheel racing division here in Australia. The regulations for both of those were essentially the same, with the exception of a few different rules when it comes to aerodynamics. Then I started thinking about hill climbs, tarmac rallies, and then driver development, how I can become a better driver. And before I knew it, this wasn't just an R34 Skyline build anymore. It was me trying to build this car to be every version of the driver that I wanted to be. And that meant the build had become more serious, more expensive, more competitive, because in my head, this wasn't just a track car anymore. I was building something to somehow compete with workshops, race teams, experienced drivers, and just people with crazy big budgets. So how do I do that? But the question I should have asked is a lot more simple, which is why? Why am I building this car? What is this car actually for? And what am I willing to sacrifice to actually get there? Because I couldn't actually answer that clearly, every perceived opportunity just became another direction to get pulled in. And that leads to mistake number 2. Bigger isn't always better. So in this new pursuit to build a race car that could somehow do everything, I came across a new problem. At the time, the Pro-Am time attack regulations did not allow all drive conversions. Plus, you also needed to have a full roll cage. And if I was gonna go down this race car route anyway, a full roll cage is something I needed to do. And I had just gone through the long, painful, and arguably expensive process of converting the car to all-wheel drive. So I just pulled it back out, I stripped the Skyline all the way down till it was nothing more than a rolling shell. I sold all the all drive components, and while I was there, the most dangerous words that a car guy can ever say came out of my mouth, which is, oh, well, while I'm here, I might as well ... And that's where things started getting more dangerous, because at that stage, I had MCA purple coilovers, which are pretty decent, and I also had R35 GTR brakes. Though, suddenly that didn't feel like it was enough anymore. I started thinking, I can do better. I need better. The fast cars have better parts, and if I want to compete, I need to go bigger. So the build kept growing. I sold my MCA coilovers, I sold the R35 GTR brakes back to the guy who I bought them off at a loss, and that money didn't even go towards the build. It went towards a tax bill. Thanks ATO, that was awesome. I went deeper with the fabrication and I started buying parts that were, yeah, expensive and bigger and better, whatever, but I wasn't even at the stage where I needed them. I spent more money and I was really starting to feel the pressure as to how and what to do. And this is the trap. Bigger ambition isn't the problem. Ungrounded ambition is. Building something serious, chasing competition, or trying to do something that hasn't been done before, I'm still all for that and I believe in it. But ambition needs a foundation. And I still need to check myself on this now. For example, I've spoken a lot about wanting to pursue GT3 endurance racing, but I also have to ask myself honestly, why GT3? Is it because it's actually the best path to become the driver I want to become? Or is it the prestige? Is it because it looks more serious? The cars are cooler? Because I've assumed that those drivers are somehow better and more capable? When I strip it all away, the real why is I just want to become a genuinely capable and competent driver. I want to be able to handle a car properly. And the more honest I am about that, the more I realize that rally probably serves the goal better first. The dream is not the problem. The problem is when you chase the version of the dream that seems impressive before asking which path actually serves it overall. Cars, business, filmmaking, fitness, it doesn't matter what it is, any big ambition or desire needs to be grounded with a solid why. Why am I doing this? Do I actually want this? Or do I just like the idea of it? Is this still serving the original goal? Or has it just become an ego contest? Am I building it because it's the right decision and right thing to do? Or am I just pursuing this and still doing it because I put it out there and I'm scared that I've changed my mind? Because that's actually what happened with me. So instead of stopping and reassessing, I doubled down. And that's a dangerous place to build from, because you aren't building from clarity. You're building from ego, fear, and the pressure to justify old decisions. And bigger doesn't always mean better. Sometimes bigger just means more expensive, more complicated, and takes you further away from driving and actually getting in the seat behind the wheel and getting some experience actually racing and driving the car. And honestly, further away from the reason as to why you even started in the first place. Which brings me to mistake number 3, which is build in stages, not all at once. We all think we know what will improve our car and make it faster. Better tires, better brakes, better suspension, better aero, more power, bigger turbo. And on paper, we probably do. But knowing something and understanding something are two completely different things. A real life example of this is when I took my GR Yaris to City Motorsport Park for a track day. Something as simple as adjusting my tire pressure shaved seconds off my lap time. And yes, I know that's common knowledge, but there's a big difference between knowing that your tire pressures can, make you faster, and then actually making the change, going out and shaving 2 seconds off your lap time and feeling the difference. That's when you understand it and the lesson becomes real. And as you get more advanced, start changing more parts, doing more advanced things, that's when your baseline becomes very important. Change one thing, test it, learn from it, then move on to the next thing. But with the Skyline, I won't really have that, because by the time it's back together and running, it'll be like a brand new car. New engine setup, the suspension, brakes, driveline, aero, the whole car will feel different to when I last drove it, which was like over 3 years ago. So how am I supposed to know what I actually changed made the car better? How do I know what I did to the car made it worse? And how do I know what may have seemed cool, but it's just expensive noise that I didn't need to do in the first place? The honest answer is I probably won't, because I removed that baseline. When you build in stages, you don't just improve the car, you learn it too. You make a change, you drive it, you test it, and you understand why it worked or why it didn't. And if you make content, that even becomes more valuable, because not only can you document your process, but what you learn, you can then share to help and teach other people. Because you're not just showing a part being fitted, you're actually showing its effect and what it can do. So the lesson is simple. Build in stages, test everything, and protect your baseline. Because building a car with progress isn't just about parts or doing what the internet thinks is cool. It's about understanding why you do it and what it actually does. A dream build still needs a real budget, no matter how big you want to make it. Now, with cars, especially ones you've gotten to a certain level, the relationship between cost and gain completely changes. At the beginning, you spend a little and gain a lot. Better tires, better tune, a good alignment, some seat time. Small money, big improvement. But at a certain level, it doesn't complete 180. You're spending lots of money and gaining a little bit less weight, a little bit more power, a bit more downforce. How can we shave 0.2 seconds off our lap time? That's why you need a budget, and don't say this. This is the big one. The budget. Oh, no, seriously, whatever it takes. Gay. Whether you're a budget weekend warrior like myself, a professional workshop, a race team, or a billion-dollar company, you still need a budget. People get this wrong. A budget is not there to kill your dream car or kill your project car. It's actually there to protect it. It gives you a line in the sand. It helps guide your decisions and also help you choose the part, upgrade, or next step that is actually going to maybe give you the best bang for buck, or also get you that one step closer to your end goal instead of detracting from it. Again, that's what happened with the Skyline. The build got bigger, the parts got more serious, and the fabrication went well beyond my own comprehension. And that's because I didn't have a budget and there was no line in the sand. There was no clear limit, no proper stages, and no honest number forcing me to think about the decisions I'm gonna make, or even ask the question, can I actually afford this version of the project? If you're new to this, you don't know how to do it. So if you can limit yourself in some way, like with a budget, then you have to think strategically. Like strategizing is just the allocation of limited resources to unlimited possibilities. And because with a project car, again, that's so important because it's not just about parts. It's fabrication, consumables, tools, shipping, labor, mistakes, delays. You'll make mistakes and then you need to fix them. And then you change your mind or life happens. Bills, family, tax, I don't know, work slows down, like stuff happens and suddenly the car isn't a project anymore. It becomes pressure, resentment, and a bitter reminder of something you started out to do, but now you no longer know if you can see it through. So the lesson is, have a budget before the build starts deciding the budget for you. Adjust the timeline or adjust the dream. Just like budgeting money, you need to budget time. If you don't have the money, you usually have to spend the time. And if you don't have the time, you usually spend the money to pay someone to do it for you. So really it can come down to time or team. And if you're doing things yourself, especially like I said, if you haven't done it before, you don't just need to think about allocating time of how long it's gonna take to do this, but how long is it gonna take for you to learn how to do it, all the things around it. And then if you make mistakes, how long is it gonna take you to fix your mistake to then finish what you started? People always say with cars, take however long you think it's gonna take and double it. Or you can use the pi rule, which is just take however long you think it's gonna take and times it by 3.14. And honestly, with project cars, I still think that's pretty optimistic. So when you're planning to build, don't just ask, how long do I think it's gonna take? You need to ask, how long will this actually take with the lifestyle I live, the actual money that I have, my actual skill level and knowledge when it comes to cars, and my realistic available time? And am I willing to make those trades that are required in order for me to achieve what I want to do with this car? And if the answer is no, you need to adjust. Now, I'm not being pessimistic when I say that. I've got a Cert 5 in uninformed optimism. But also, if you're making a plan, whatever plan you make, I guarantee you, the moment you start getting on the tools, that plan is gonna go straight in the bin. A great example is the seat that I bought for the drive position and I can get the cage done. Didn't fit, so then I thought I'll embark on a metal fab journey and I can make it fit. I'm sure I'll be able to work it out. I then spent over 100 hours so far trying to get it to fit. I then made a mistake. I now need to cut out all the metal fab work that I've done somehow, and I need to start from scratch. That's over like 100 hours wasted. And the car's gone backwards. The progress has gone backwards. And plot twist, I'm not enjoying any part of this build at all. In fact, I have considered more times than not about selling the thing or just running a grinder through it and cutting it in half and taking the scrap metal. I won't do that, but I'm not enjoying this. And like, that is what leads me to project cars are not always fun. Because despite what the internet says, all the big YouTubers, the big creators who are out there fitting cool parts, they're making it all look fun and exciting and they build a car in 30 minutes, that's not the case. It's not always about fitting new parts, new turbos, coilovers, carbon fiber, or whatever it is. Sometimes it looks like sweating your ass off in a garage in 40+ heat, doing something that you then mess up and have to undo, or sometimes even worse, you can spend hours and hours and hours working on your car and nothing physically or like visually changes, which is also can be so disheartening. And I think this ties into the money and the time budgeting side of things, because building a car, especially of like this scale, like it's hard. It is, God, it's fucking hard, man, seriously. But the definition of hard, right, is your expectation did not meet reality. I thought it was gonna be relatively simple and I'll just, change this and do this. And I realized it is so hard, so involved and complicated, and there is so much I do not know about or know how to do. And that goes for anything outside cars as well. Like you want to get rich, be successful or famous, like it's not just gonna happen. But that's the part that people don't show. And I understand from a content side, you need to make a video that keeps people engaged, otherwise they click off and YouTube kills the video. You don't get paid, you don't grow, and well, that's not good. That's the reality, and that's why I'm making this video and I'm hoping you guys find it useful. Is project cars are not fun all the time. They're not glamorous, they're not exciting, you're not, unboxing a new part. Sometimes you're spending hours just staring at the car thinking, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know how to do this, or you're gonna spend hours trying to work it out and then you can do it. I wish it was fun and exciting and glamorous all the time, but it's not. It's not. Sometimes you wanna give CPR to a 12 gauge. That's a joke. All that in mind, I think the hardest part is when you're spending time, money, effort, and nothing is visually changing. Like, it's easy to love the dream version of your project, but it's harder to love and stay committed to the version of the project that is apart, unfinished, covered in dust, taking your time and your money, and it's still asking you to show up for it, even when it starts to feel more like a burden than a dream. Because if you stop, well, your project car is just gonna be another unfinished piece of shit on Marketplace that someone's gonna give you a couple of grand for. And all of these mistakes I've made and lessons for you leads me to number seven. Having a stock car is not a failure. In some ways it can be a blessing and honestly better than having a modified car. For example, my Toyota GR Yaris is stock. I've done over 100,000 kilometers in it and it's awesome. I love it. I've taken it to track days. I've done drag racing in it. Done interstate trips. I even picked up my daughter when she was born from the hospital in it. And it makes 150 kilowatts at all four wheels, which in this day and age is nothing. Yet it's so damn fun. And it's stock. I get to use it, I drive it, I get more experience with it, and I can learn how to become a better driver with it. Unpopular opinion, this is gonna upset a lot of people, is high-powered cars have killed the car scene, especially with events like roll racing. Yes, I've been roll racing, it's fun. It's a very cheap and accessible event for people who can take their cars, go high speeds and have fun. But if you aren't making 4 digits of power or even high threes, you're slow and basically you'll get mopped by everything there.
Where's everyone? I'm up.
And with the stigma of high-powered cars can lead people in the car community to feel that they're lesser than, that they aren't a real enthusiast if they don't have a certain car that is, recognizable like a GDR or something. Or if you're not making 600, 700, 1,000 horsepower, which is just not true. You are not less than because your car is stock or it only makes 100 or 200 horsepower. If anything, I find people who actually have those kind of cars are actually more enthusiasts than the ones who buy the well-known cars and have like a gazillion horsepower. Now let's compare that to my Skyline, which now doesn't drive, doesn't run, is sitting there as a rolling shell, not being used, and honestly, I don't even know how or when I'm going to finish it. If I left my Skyline the way it was, yes, it was modified, but tastefully and not over the top, I would probably still be driving it, out having fun with it, taking it to track days, getting experience, meeting new people, building on my community, and creating fun content for you guys and making memories. But instead, I let my ego, my impatience, and lack of direction and not knowing exactly what I want get the better of me. And now I'm left with a car that I'm trying still to love, but I can't use it. And that's probably the hardest part to admit, to be honest. I still want to build this car. I still want it to be finished in the version and the vision that I have in my mind. But right now, it feels like an untouchable desire. Something I can see, something I want, but I don't know how to reach it or how to get there. I've dug myself in this hole so deep in the pursuit of something that I probably didn't really need to have. That is the lessons. Those are the 7 mistakes that I've made and lessons for you guys so far, building and arguably ruining my R34 Skyline. And honestly, right now you could say that the car is ruined, but I don't think it's ruined forever. I took a car that I loved, I could drive, I could learn from, and turned it into something so big, so complex, so unnecessarily over the top from what I had. And honestly, even being able to drive it again seems untouchable right now. Because at the end of the day, a dream car isn't meant to just sit there and be an idea or a vision of what could be. It's meant to be used, driven, experienced, enjoyed by others. So if you're building a car or thinking about buying one or starting a project, hopefully this video helps you avoid at least one of these mistakes I made. Because even if you avoid just one, it will save you so much heartache, time, and money. Seriously, it will. And if you've ever made any of these mistakes or even want to drop some advice or your 2 cents worth in the comments, please drop them down there, because I know I'm not the only one who's gone too far, spent too much money, changed direction a million times, and then you end up standing and looking at your car and thinking, what have I done? If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, because even though the Skyline is not finished, not even close, if this video was about everything I've done wrong, the next episode of Project Precision will be about how I start making it right. Getting this car out of my head, out of the golf first, and eventually on the track and me in the seat behind the wheel getting experience. Now, not as every version of the car I imagine it to be or that it could be, but as the version of the car that it needs to become.